So today we're going to talk about getting things done, and it seems that the busier you are, the more you actually get done. And how is it that really busy people manage to accomplish even more? Well, joining us today is Garth Roberts. He's one of the contributors of Getting Things Done, this book right here, Successful Men Speak. So thanks for being with us.
Welcome, thank you.
That's one of the things I've always noticed, is when I'm busier, I actually seem to accomplish a lot more. And when I have some more free time, I find that I procrastinate a little bit. Oh, I've got all this time. And then I look at some of the people that are in this book and what they've achieved, and I'm amazed that they can actually get it all done in a day. How does this work?
It's called planning. Basically, most of us plan our vacations better than we plan our lives. And I'm a perfect example of that. For many years, I didn't plan very well. And one of the things I really like to focus on now when I'm working with a variety of people, supervisory and leadership, is I like to talk about, okay, first of all, you got to plan. Then you got to communicate your plan, which is kind of the doing phase. And then you got to follow up, which is the other thing that most people don't do. And successful people follow up. Or, and I think we have to remember, a lot of people that we see who do a phenomenal amount of work, they have people helping them. They know what they're good at, and they use their own talents for that. And then, okay, there's this job I'm not very good at, so I better get somebody else to help me. So they build the team, whether it's an official team, a formal team, or whether they're hiring someone to do a certain amount of aspects. It's one of the things that I'm still having a little trouble with when it comes to, for example, my accounting. I know I need a bookkeeper, but I never quite get it to the phase where it's correct. Where it's good enough to hand to somebody, so I don't have to spend, I have to do it all to get explained. Anyway, so to me that's the biggest thing for the whole aspect. And in television, when you've got deadlines as well, deadlines help. You've got a production to happen. You've got a deadline that's going to be on the air. Well, you got to get it done. So we tend to back time as well. It's another really good technique. And this one was developed by NASA when picture a bunch of scientists sitting around a room watching TV, watching their boss on TV, and the boss says, we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. Well, if the boss was President Kennedy, you probably figure you might have to do that. So what the NASA scientists did is they worked backwards. They said, okay, what is success? So it's
getting the man on the moon, the end result.
Actually, for them, getting the man safely back on the Earth.
Oh, interesting.
So they started from that point. So what did we do at the last moment? Okay, we plucked the capsule out of the ocean. Then just prior to that was re-entry, et cetera, et cetera. They worked all the way backwards. I had the opportunity to do this with one company on two projects, and it was interesting. One was a fairly major project that they work on. The other was planning the company barbecue for the summer. So I had two groups. And they were sort of, oh, yeah, okay. But even the group that were doing the barbecue, when they started working backwards from 10 minutes after the event's over and it's been successful, what did we do to make it? They were absolutely amazed the number of things that went into that. So I think that looking forward, the goal, what do you want, destination, whatever you want to call it, and having a clear picture. And most of us don't have that.
Clear picture is essential. Now, in this book, one of the things that you focus on, and it's what you focus on in terms of what you do, is leadership and communication and the link between that. We all think we're good communicators, but we're not really, are we?
Most of us are pretty bad. My first career was your career, television, film. And I started out as a writer because I had to take a course in college. I didn't want to be a writer, and suddenly I discovered I had some skills at it and talent at it and ended up doing it. So being in a newsroom initially and then being in production, you're always communicating, but yet you're always getting reminded that you don't communicate very well.
And it happens a lot in this industry. It's the communication industry, but when you're trying to pull everything together, there's so much going on that the communication falls by the wayside sometimes.
And I think there's a real logical reason for that to a degree. You may have heard of behavioral assessments. There's things like the Myers-Briggs, the Gregoric. The DISC is the one I like to use. Colors is most popular. You and I can use
that as an example, the DISC, because we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yes, we are. We had a little chat beforehand.
We did.
Yes. DISC stands for basically the dominant is the D, the influencer is the I, or socializer.
Me.
Yeah. The steady type is the S, and the compliant or conscientious type is the C, which just happens to be me. Now, the Ds are very good at getting going. Let's make a decision, let's start, and let's go. The downfall to that frequently is they make the first decision and they go down the road, they get halfway down the road, find out they took the wrong fork in the road, so they have to go back and redo it. They get bored easily, and as you mentioned, not great on the details. Okay.
I'd rather somebody else deal with that. I'll look at big picture, thanks. Yeah, exactly.
The I's are the influencer, also the socializers. The I's, if you're having, incidentally, we all have all four of these bits in our body. It's just that certain ones are stronger. And if you're putting a team together, you want to have all the different types on your team. You want a well-rounded team. The I's are the influencers. They get people going, and they, they convince you should do this and do all that sort of stuff. And when the team starts to out of sorts, they're the ones who will say, well, let's have a party and get everybody back in, thinking the same way, sort of thing. So, and that I make it sound like they just, socialize or party types. No, they have a lot of influence and they get things going and they like to have progress. S's are steady. They're the ones that if they buy into it, they keep going, and they'll start, they'll finish, etc. They don't like change. So on an S, and I always use my son as an example, when he was just a little guy, we said, Garrett, we're going to go to the mall. And he'd say no. First reaction was no. Garrett, we're going to go to the mall in an hour. Not a problem. He's had time to process it, decide it's a good idea, and I'll go, let's do it.